What's up, YouTube? We'll get some more light. Looks like I'm in a dungeon here. I'm not. I'm actually in a nice apartment in London. We're doing a house sit for 2 weeks. And it's quite a posh neighborhood. We want to keep it on brand. So I use words like posh. But I wanted to dissect the latest post on bloggingfromparadise.com. Make sure, guys, before we dive in and chat here on Facebook and here on YouTube, that you stop by my website, which is called bloggingfromparadise.com, and check out this latest blog post. I also have blogging courses for you. I have blogging ebooks that I've written, blogging courses that I've created, and these are all helpful guides to lead you in the direction of becoming a successful blogger. So the question I get from time to time, and someone asked me via a Facebook group related to blogging tips yesterday, and I get it a lot: should I choose WordPress or Blogger? Now, in the latest post I published on bloggingparadise.com, one of the points I led off with, which is very important, guys, is this. For the intents and purposes of this blog post, WordPress is wordpress.org. I'm not going to discuss wordpress.com because that's another free blogging platform, which is very similar to Blogger in a lot of respects, as far as the fact that it's free, its customizing potential, its optimizing potential. It's really similar. So I decided to go with wordpress.org. And I think most bloggers, that's what they're talking about. Should be, because wordpress.org is very different than wordpress.com. And there's a couple ideas I wanted to discuss to help you understand, based on your preferences, your desires right now, your needs, which will help you make the right choice. And that's the first step ultimately. You want to peel open your mind, because where you're at right now with your blogging career, it could make sense to choose Blogger. And of course, for the intents and purposes of this video, this live broadcast, Blogger is Blogspot. All right, guys? It is Blogspot, aka Blogger, the property owned by Google. Google owns Blogger. So based on where you're at now, guys, in some cases, Blogger is going to be the best option for you. In other cases, WordPress.org is going to be the best option. So before you make your decision, let's go over a few key points for each platform. Number one, WordPress.org is in essence a premium platform. That means you need to pay for it. You pay for your domain and your hosting, and then you use the platform WordPress.org. Number one, guys, unless you break extremely lenient terms of services laid out by the hosting company, in essence, you own the content. So unless you do something pretty outrageous, or you do something that the hosting company would deem as being illegal, you own the content. They're not going to take it down. You set the rules, basically. In essence, you do. And this is the strongest point, the strongest, I wouldn't say argument, but the wisest decision you could really make in terms of benefits. When you're talking WordPress.org, you set the rules, you own the content, you own the images, you own the likeness. When you own the site and set the rules, it's pretty sweet, because you're going to avoid a lot of problems that arise when you don't own the site and you don't set the rules, and somebody else owns it and sets the rules. So that's one of the really strong points right off the bat as far as WordPress.org. You own the content, you own the site. In essence, you own the content, You make the rules. With that, you customize the blog however you want to customize it. You make it look exactly how you want to make it look, which of course allows you to stand out, and it feeds right into branding potential. You brand it, set it up however you specifically, particularly want to brand it. And of course, this is important, guys, in terms of building a one-of-a-kind brand, an authentic, genuine brand that stands out, which in turn feeds into business building. So if you want to create a one-of-a-kind business, WordPress.org, that platform helps you do that, because you build the site specifically, you brand the site specifically, you stand out as a business owner. It's a one-of-a-kind deal. When you look at any iconic, successful business that has a presence online, you'll see that the site looks unlike any site in the world. It's one of a kind. It makes it stick out. You look at, say, Apple, ESPN.com, Apple.com. Just look at their websites. Google. There's no site that looks anything like these sites. This is one of the benefits of blogging on WordPress.org. You could design it so no other site touches your site, which will help a lot in terms of business building potential, branding potential, customizing. And of course, when it comes to building a business, WordPress.org is pretty much the best platform, or it's one of the ultimate elite platforms, because you could monetize a WordPress.org blog through virtually unlimited streams. At bloggingfromparadise.com, I sell blogging courses that I created for bloggers, and I sell blogging ebooks that I wrote and self-published through Gumroad and through Payhip, and the courses as well through Gumroad and Payhip. This is just the tip of the iceberg, really, guys. You can offer consulting services. You could offer coaching, freelance writing services, or any type of freelancing. You could offer web design, web development services. You can embed ads, Google AdSense, other third-party advertising channels. You can engage in affiliate marketing. The possibilities are limitless, and that's why WordPress.org is such a phenomenal choice as far as unlimited income streams virtually that you could offer. So there's so much business building potential there. There is a huge, loyal, highly knowledgeable support community with WordPress.org, which comes in really handy when stuff breaks with your blog, when you run into obstacles related to the platform. That's inevitable, guys. Stuff's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's always going to be an emergency or a 4-alarm fire, but you're going to need help from time to time with the technical aspects of the platform. WordPress.org far and away is the largest, most skilled, knowledgeable, loyal support community. You have tons of bloggers with some development experience, programming experience, and a lot of programmers, web developers, web designers who know the platform really well. And you will want that when stuff goes wrong with your blog. So that's why it's definitely, I want to give some thought to developing a blog or starting a blog on WordPress.org. I'm trying to think of anything else as far as really great benefits or upsides. We talked about branding, customizing, owning the blog, setting the rules, monetizing. These are the strongest points for being on WordPress.org. Now, things to keep in mind, I don't know if you'd call them cons or drawbacks, but just you have to keep them in mind. Number one, you actually pay to buy your domain and hosting on WordPress.org. So it's not a free method. You will have to pay $15-20 a year in most cases for a domain name, and also $15-20 a month, maybe more, maybe up to 30 or a little bit more as you gain more traffic to host a site on WordPress.org. So It is pay to play, which you'll have to keep in mind. In addition to that fact, guys, there is a steeper learning curve because to access all that WordPress.org power, all that business building and branding and customizing, you have to learn how to use the platform, learn how to navigate through the back office, and practice. Get comfortable with it. There's widgets and plugins, and then that was obviously Gutenberg for a while. There's blocks. You go that route. Still in the old school. Classic editor. Whatevs. It takes a while, and it could be a little intimidating, a little uncomfortable, so it's something to keep in mind. It's not as simple and seamless and as easy and maybe as intuitive as a free platform like Blogger, free platform blog. But if you want to blog seriously, if you want to commit, WordPress.org is your choice. So the money you invest, the investment you make, and the time and energy, learning and practicing, getting comfortable, maybe a little uncomfortable sometimes, getting clear on the platform, that steeper learning curve, they pay much bigger returns as far as actually driving traffic, targeted traffic, building a loyal community. These are things you will need to actually build a business, guys. And WordPress.org far and away is the best platform in the world. It's been for a long time, and it still is, because of all these really strong factors. So if you are ready to commit to blogging now, start on WordPress.org. Dive in, do it the right way. .org is the right way. Just because it's tailor-made for professional bloggers, or not even for professional bloggers, for bloggers who actually want blog traffic. If you don't want to be the only person who reads your blog, or maybe a couple lukewarm readers, if you want to build a loyal following and community, it's WordPress.org right now. There's no other platform that compares to it. And maybe there will be down the road, but it's still not close, guys. The biggest thing to keep in mind is the support community. You're not going to get it through other platforms because a lot of the top bloggers don't use these platforms. So they're not seen in as credible and serious a light among millions and millions of bloggers. It's just logical, guys. It makes sense. You can use other platforms for sure. You could even use Blogger. But here, let's get into the Blogger side of things. WordPress.org ultimately is the wisest choice for anyone who's ready to commit now. Right now, commit, dive in, boom. That's it. I want a blog. I want readers. I want a loyal community. Okay, good. WordPress.org, no brainer. However, if you want to give blogging a shot, if you want to try it out, want to kick the wheels, you want to see what it feels like to write and publish posts, put your name out there, put your content out there. You want to get comfortable with the idea of being seen in public, online, outside of social media. Gen Pop deal, putting your content out there, putting your name out there as an experiment to see how it feels. Then Blogger, aka Blogspot, owned by Google, that could be a really good idea for you. It's definitely something you want to think about. Blogger is free platform, so you don't lay down a dime, no financial investment. The Blogger platform, Blogspot, is easy to start, to get up and running. You could sign up for an account and write and publish your first post within minutes. The back office is mind-numbingly simple, easy to navigate, so there's really no learning curve whatsoever. It's so easy to get started, to get a feel for writing and publishing posts. So right now, that might be the best decision for you. I don't want to rule it out, guys, because we're all in different places. Only use it or start a blog on it if your pure intent is to get comfortable, to see if blogging is for you, to get comfortable with putting your name out there, your content out there. I know a lot of people are very afraid to be seen and outside of their social media friend circles or family circles. You want to get out in the general population. If you want to see what that feels like, Blogger could be the right choice for you right now. Probably is. However, as we get to the halfway point of this video, because I'll cut it in a half hour, I have to eat some lunch, and then we'll be walking around beautiful London. However, this is a really important point, guys. You have to look at this honestly, realistically, genuinely, right now, guys. And bloggingfromparadise.com, of course, from day one, when I started blogging, not on bloggingparadise.com, I started bloggingparadise.com in 2014. But when I started blogging in general, different niches, way back in 2008, 15 years ago, which is a dinosaur in the blogging world. That's like hundreds of years or 100 plus years in the offline world because everything was so quick in the online world. I started my old blog self-hosted on WordPress.org from day one. Now, I did start a few blogger blogs along the way as experiments. Yet, I feel grateful, and of course, bloggingfromparadise.com, 2014, July 2014, I think, when I started that, when I created it, bought my domain and hosting. So thankful of started on WordPress.org and not Blogger because of these reasons, looking at it truthfully, guys. You got to be truthful if you're going to start on this platform. If you want to kick around the idea of blogging, get comfortable with it, put your name out there, feel free to use Blogger, but you have to look at this very honestly and truthfully. You will own none of the content. Google owns all of it. You will have almost no branding potential. Google owns the brand. They don't give you, they're making it free, guys. You get what you pay for. So if you pay for nothing, you're going to get that experience. If you're getting something for free, you're not going to be able to brand the blog at all virtually. You're not going to be able to customize it how you want. You're not going to be able to monetize through all types of sweet channels. It'll be a Google AdSense deal for you if you wanted to monetize. You're not going to be able, hey, my friend on YouTube, thank you so much for joining. You're not going to be able to build a large, loyal, trusted following on Blogger almost 100% of the time. It's going to be really rare a following that will rocket you higher and higher in the blogosphere. And the main reason for this, guys, is Google owns the site, so you don't own any of the content. They can kick you off the site at any time if you break the terms of service. They do with thousands and thousands of bloggers. They do it a lot because they have every right to, because you're a squatter. You don't own the content. You're a user on a free blogger platform, a free blogging platform. You have to understand that, guys. You have to accept that. So many bloggers make that, tens of thousands of bloggers, tens of thousands make the mistake of blogging on Blogger. And this is why I'm so glad I never blogged on the platform. Seriously. I mean, I did it as an experiment with the intent of actually trying to grow a large, loyal, tight-knit community, and then they want to monetize that. Horrible idea. It's so rare to succeed with any of these intents. So the split second, guys, since Google owns the content, Google owns your image, Google owns your likeness, Google owns everything. It's free. You don't own anything there. The split second you want to do it seriously, immediately bring it over, move it over to WordPress.org, because you are making the biggest mistake of your blogging life. And so many tens of guys, I've been doing this since 2008. I've been doing it for 15 years on WordPress.org, and I've seen tens of thousands of bloggers get shut down because they don't set the rules. They're not in control. They're not in charge. They don't set the terms of service. And in the most dramatic cases, they get shut down. They're creating hundreds and hundreds of blog posts, and one day, hey, Ron, what's up, bro? Good early morning. They get shut down immediately. Absolutely horrible idea. You're not an owner. You're a renter on these sites. You're a squatter. You're not even a renter. Maybe a little more renter on WordPress, wherever you're a squatter. But forget getting shut down. You just have no monetizing potential, really, so little. You're not taken seriously. Even if you buy, in a lot of cases, bloggers don't buy the domain, which is another huge mistake on Blogger. So it says, it would be like if my blog said bloggingfromparadise.blogspot.com. It looks awkward. It looks like you're not serious. And this is what I'm talking about, blogging seriously, guys. And I don't want to blow Blogger out of the water. Blogspot. It's okay to use it if you're not taking it seriously and you're giving blogging a whirl. But since Google owns the content, since they own the brand, since they own the customizing, it's easy to easy to navigate in the back office. It's simple to get going. It's simple to publish content. It's easy to publish content. These are all upsides, but the split second you want to blog seriously, you're like, okay, I want to blog now. I actually want readers, loyal readers. I want to build a community. I want to help people. The split second that becomes your intent after you've experimented on Blogger, aka Blogspot, immediately buy your domain and hosting and do the migration over to WordPress.org. Because if you actually try to draw a following and to be taken seriously, to be seen as credible by an increasingly large, growing community, you have to get off the platform immediately, because they make it really hard to do that. Not because Google is unfriendly, but because they're giving you a free site. What do you expect them to do? They're not making an investment in it. They're investing their billions and billions and billions and billions in other ventures that are business building for them. Bloggers not. They're not gaining multimillionaire bloggers through the platform who spread the word. It's cheap. It's free. It's using a site. It's smart to use it only to experiment, to see how it feels to write and publish content. The split second you want to do it seriously, you're never going to be able to brand it, monetize it, customize it to be taken seriously at a level of scale. So this is where, guys, when you're talking Blogger, when you have these bloggers that are on this site for months, bad idea. You're experimenting for months, bad idea, based on the average human time frame. Get on WordPress.org or stop blogging. Like, if you figure out after being on Blogger for a little bit, it's not for you, that's totally cool. There's billions of things to do as a human being. Blogging, I should say, maybe it's not one of the things that you're pulled towards, and that's totally fine. You could abandon it, you could let it go, close down, it doesn't even matter, just let it go. But if you have this idea of, ooh, now I want to start getting readers, one of the biggest mistakes I've seen made tens of thousands of times since 2008. I'm a blogging dinosaur, guys. I've been in this game for a long time. It's what I do at bloggingfromparadise.com. I help bloggers out. They ask me this question a lot. Get off the site immediately, which means migrate, buy your domain and hosting, and migrate to WordPress.org. Because the split second you want to do it seriously and you start trying to build, trying to build a large, loyal, trusted following that keeps coming back to your blog, you're going to struggle horribly to do it in almost every case. And as far as monetizing, it's almost impossible, because you can't make your blog look special and one of a kind and trusted and credible on a platform that is not engineered or designed, or that physically gives you the capabilities to use all these sweet widgets and plugins and blocks, all these phenomenal tools that are waiting for you on WordPress.org. They're not on Blogger. You don't have tens of thousands of bloggers. You don't have the capability or possibility of developing widgets and plugins and all types of ingenious, clever tools for scale and credibility in business. You don't have that on Blogger, aka Blogspot. So why would you try to shove a square peg into a round hole? That's not what Blogger's for. Immediately get off the site once you realize you want to do it seriously, that you want followers, you want a community, because you may be able to build a tiny, tiny community on Blogger, and in rare cases, a large, loyal community, but it is so difficult, guys. There's a few rare souls that do it. It's so difficult to customize and to stand out and to brand on a blog that is not engineered or designed for that, because it's free. You don't own anything. And even in the rarest cases, guys, where you have this little monetizing potential, but maybe you're making a few bucks and you've built things up, and it's rare, they could still, since they own the content, you're not paying anybody for hosting on Blogger. It's free. Even if you buy a domain and mask it, since you don't own the content and you're a user on the blog, since you don't own the site, you're a squatter. They own everything. They own the hosting. You don't own the hosting. You're not paying anybody for hosting. They can kick your rear end off that site in a split second, and they never have to let you know, and they have every right. You're a squatter. It's like when Kelly and I traveled through Central America. We heard these crazy stories, and in a place like that, it's kind of maybe a little different, but maybe we'll say that, or you'll say, let's say like various parts of the States, if somebody's squatting in a house, I mean, the joke is squatters' rights. You don't own it. Maybe it's even kind of dilapidated, but somebody else owns it. So of course, legally, in any place where the person owns it and you're a squatter, they'll kick you out right away legally. They could have you removed. I mean, it's insane. You own the house. You own the property. Like when you own it, that's where businesses expand. That's how they grow. You own. That's why you pay your domain and hosting and you get on WordPress.org. Like even here on Facebook, I give some time to it as a level of scale because there's so many folks out there and meeting new folks, and ditto on YouTube. I'm broadcasting live on each one of these platforms, but the analogy that I've heard explained is your blog is the trunk. I spend most time writing and publishing content on bloggingfromparadise.com, and social media, Facebook, YouTube. I promote the post through a wide range of channels, but they're the branches of the tree. The trunk, the base, the roots, that's bloggingfromparadise.com, because I own that. I pay for the hosting. I pay someone and I pay someone for the domain as well. So I own that. That's mine. I'm not a squatter there. I call the shots. I set the rules. I brand it. I monetize it. I tailor it. I customize it. It's all me. It's like here in London, if you look around in the UK, the Qatari Investment Authority, the Al Thani ruling family. Kelly and I spent a month in Doha. We've seen the immense wealth. You're seeing a guy across the street owns a $4 million car, a Bugatti Chiron. I saw a Koenigsegg down the road last week. It's a $6.5 million car. This is USD. I mean, a house, a mansion, a $6 million mansion is amazing. There's a guy on 4 wheels rolling around. These, and a lot, although Koenigsegg it's not, but a lot of the money from really wealthy individuals from Arabic countries, they invest. Like it starts as gas money or oil money. Hey, Sam. And that's how it started. But then they invest on real estate. The Qatar Investment Authority, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, it's a $480 billion fund. That's a B. And that's $1 billion. It's almost $500 billion. They own 12% of real estate in the UK. They own over 10% of the real estate in this country. And when you look at London, it's mind-blowing when you realize how expensive. I mean, this apartment we heard is $5,000 a month USD, and it's small. All the flats around here are $1 million. So when you're thinking about that, you're like, wow, how do they, $500 billion? Is that all oil money? No. And gas money? No, they invest. They go right into real estate. They own the properties. And when they own the hotels, they own the Shard and they own Harrods. So they own that real estate, and that's where the massive wealth is. They make money on the real estate, on all the different ways you could flip it. Not flip it, I should say. They don't flip it, they own it, although they do some flipping too, maybe. But they own, they invest, and they make just incredible amounts of money. And it works the same way online. You have to own your blog on WordPress.org. If you're squatting, forget about it. You know that. That's one of the secrets of massive wealth. You own real estate. In the online world, it's owning your domain and hosting and getting on WordPress.org. You're not doing it on Blogger because you don't own it. You could be kicked off at any time. You could build a really big following on Facebook or YouTube and then be kicked off because Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook and his people, YouTube, whoever owns that, they own it. I own bloggingfromparadise.com, and I give a little more time here to scale. Hey, Peter, thanks for joining. But minus the scaling and accessing 4 billion human beings who use social media, I do spend the lion's share of my time on bloggingfromparadise.com, which is a WordPress.org blog. And on that note, I'm hungry. I'm going to have myself some proper baked beans for lunch because I'm in the UK. And I'm going to invite you to stop by my blog, which is called bloggingfromparadise.com, WordPress.org. I own it. Just a quick recap, guys. You want to give blogging a shot to get a feel for it. Blogger.com could work out because it's free and easy to use. The split second you're going to take it seriously and you're like, okay, now I want readers. I'd like some followers. Immediately ditch the Blogger blog, get over to WordPress.org, do the migration. Easy enough to do, or you could hire someone and do it on a budget, on the cheap. And then, branding, monetizing. Think of that analogy when you're thinking about that $500 billion. It really works here in London because it's a $500 billion. It's 480 billion, probably even more. And they own 12% of real estate in the UK. It's not just this insanely expensive London. I mean, they own houses here that when they're done, the one house is a $300 million house that the Qatari Investment Authority owns. When Queen Elizabeth, who recently passed, will be here for the coronation too, for the king in a couple days, which will be awesome. Plenty of pictures there as well. Charles being coronated. But when she drove by and saw this Al-Thani Qatari mansion, going to be valued probably over $300 million, she said it made Buckingham Palace look rather dull. This is the former Queen of England, saying Buckingham Palace look rather dull. This $300 million mansion, Qatari ruling family, Al-Thani, but that's their mindset. It's why this massive wealth, they own real estate. That's offline, and then they build it up and they sell, and they own hotels. It's just a pure abundance mentality. It's a pure abundance mentality. In the online world, that means getting on WordPress.org. Own your blog, guys. I'm going to roll half hour in. I need some proper baked beans, burn a lot of calories, and then Kelly and I are going to walk around and get our London cardio. And I'm sure, I don't have more pictures today because it might rain in a bit. We'll preserve the camera, which I got some compliments on the other day walking around London. It's not as fancy. I mean, it's not cheap. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't really high end. And I'm getting compliments around town yesterday. People telling me that's a great camera. So, hey, cool, man. Love you guys. Thanks so much, Peter and Siam, Anik, Ram, all the folks. I'm going to roll Facebook. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. And YouTube, thanks so much for joining. Friends, until next time, you know what to do. Enjoy Paradise All.